The Water Authority has an obligation to the ratepayers to make sure that we have a safe and reliable water supply at a reasonable cost. These forums are an outstanding way for us to talk to the public with regards to what we are doing with regards to our water supplies and how we're planning for the future, and also to find out what your concerns are and to hear from you and to ask questions in this forum. I encourage you to visit our website. It has links to a lot of different information so you can keep up with what's going on within San Diego County and our 24 member agencies and all of the projects they have going that are trying to diversify and increase our sustainability with regards to our water supplies. Tonight, let me just give an outline of where we're going to head tonight with regards to the program. We have several speakers. First one is Frank Belock. He's the Water Authority's Deputy General Manager, and he will go over the emergency storage project and specific projects within the ESP project program. And one of them is the raising of the San Vicente Dam raise, which is the largest dam raise in the United States, and it's ongoing at this time. Then we'll have John Geller, our Operations Planning Manager. He will discuss the regional's infrastructure and how we monitor and maintain our infrastructure and our pipelines and facilities. There will also be an opportunity for you to ask questions. After each speaker, we'll give you 5 minutes to ask questions. If you want to ask questions by raising your hand, or if you want to write out a question on a card, staff is available for cards that you can ask questions in that manner too. We will have an opportunity after John speaks for more questions, and we'll keep it open after the last speaker to make sure that we answer all your questions. And if you have any information we can follow up on, we'll be glad to follow up and provide information at a later time if we can't answer your questions. Let me talk a little bit about the history of our imported water system. In 1946 was the last year that the county relied on its local water supplies to supply the water supplies for the population of San Diego County. So the local water that was stored in reservoirs was distributed to a very limited area in San Diego County. During World War II, the population greatly shifted within San Diego County and throughout the state of California due to the Navy presence during the war and the industrial mobilization, war mobilization with regards to building aircraft and other industries supporting the war effort. It was pretty obvious that we needed more water supply to San Diego to support this war effort, as well as just to maintain the future of San Diego County when the population has increased. The Water Authority came about by a state legislature to help secure and deliver that water supply to San Diego County. With the assistance of the Navy and the Bureau of Reclamation, a new pipeline was built to bring water to San Diego County from the Colorado River Aqueduct. The aqueduct actually connected into the greater Colorado River Aqueduct, which the Metropolitan Water District had completed back in the 30s. So we were tapping into that source coming from MWD back in the late 40s. And that was the genesis of the imported water system into San Diego County, and also the creation of the Water Authority that oversaw the aqueduct and the wholesale water supply to San Diego County. Now we talk about challenges. One of them is just where we live. This chart here shows that we live in a very arid area of the country, and we average about 11 inches a year of rain. That's on average. For planning purposes, Metropolitan Water District plans that 3 out of every 10 years will be above average, which means that we really rely on trying to store that wet year water when it rains to get us through the dry years. It's also a key factor in how we're approaching the future for planning for water supplies. Obviously, climate change, just our natural cycles of a climate in San Diego County, and just to support our population and our $186 billion economy, it's a very important factor in our decision making as we move forward. Now, where does our water come from with regards to imported water? And this slide shows you that San Diego County, as of 2011, imported 70% of our water supply to San Diego, and that includes water transfers and other supplies from the Colorado River State Water Project. You can see about half of our water supply is from the Colorado River. last year, and about 16% is from the State Water Project in the Bay Delta area, which comes through the Metropolitan Water District. That 16% really varies on year to year based on snowpacks, as well as regulatory requirements and restrictions on pumping out of the Bay Delta. So we also rely on about 30% of local supplies and conservation in San Diego County. This number has increased over the years. And conservation is a very important aspect of our water diversification program. Every gallon we save, that's another gallon we don't have to develop for local water supplies or import. Bringing water hundreds of miles from Northern California and Colorado is very challenging, and we're facing a lot of those challenges right now with regards to the demand that's occurring in the western United States, as well as the drought and regulatory restrictions. One of the threats that we're constantly aware of is the earthquakes along Southern California that could threaten the aqueduct system that provides that 70% of our water supply. There are several major faults that intersect our aqueduct system in San Diego County: the San Andreas Fault, the San Jacinto Fault, and the Elsinore Fault. Any extreme event that would interrupt the water supply through these aqueducts could take up to 2 to 6 months to repair those aqueducts. That's why it's very important for us to have a local water supply that can sustain us through those events when or if they do occur. There's also challenges in our imported supplies outside of the earthquakes. There's the regulatory restrictions, as well as the drought and climate change, as I mentioned. There's also the increasing competition for the limited resources, and something closer to home, it's just the cost of water and the cost of importing water. These are all challenges that the water agencies are facing and continue to face in the future. We need to ensure that we have enough supplies locally in the event we are cut off from those imported water supplies. In the early 90s, the Water Authority, recognizing this need, moved forward with an emergency storage project to lessen our vulnerability if these potential problems were to occur. Frank will talk in a minute about our ESP project, our emergency storage project, and a lot of the details of that project, and where we are today and what we've accomplished over the last 10 years. Our current aqueduct system operates over 300 miles of aqueduct pipelines, underground pipes, large diameter. This map shows the different aqueducts that come into San Diego County, from the North County down to the South County. Again, when we talk about the emergency storage project, I think it's important to emphasize that we're tapping into the assets that we have in the area with regards to expanding our storage capacity, but we're also improving the ability to move water throughout the county rather than rely on just gravity flow, and we're able to selectively operate the system more efficiently in those times of need. These pipelines have been built over the years. Some of them are 60 years old, and as you can see by these pictures here, some of them are very large in diameter. And John, when he speaks to you in a minute, he's going to talk a little bit more about how we monitor these pipelines and the type of repairs and rehabilitation projects that we have in place and are moving forward with regards to ensuring that the pipelines are reliable when we need them. The Water Authority's efforts over the last 10 years have really changed. If you look at our investment in infrastructure in San Diego County, prior to 1999, we were really operating aqueduct pipelines. But in the early 90s, when there was a decision to move forward with the emergency storage project and other improvements, as well as the new Twin Oaks Valley water treatment plant, the largest membrane treatment plant in the United States, that produces 100 million gallons a day, we really diversified our investment in our infrastructure. And this graph here shows you the amount of money we've invested in infrastructure in various categories, such as regional water storage and canal lining of the Colorado River canal lining in Imperial County that was part of the water transfer agreement with Imperial County Water District, and piping relining, and including that as hydroelectric facilities. And we've recently just started up a very large solar system operation in all of our facilities. And if it's not the largest, it is one of the largest. We are one of the largest producers of solar power in San Diego County as an entity. So all of this is to provide more reliability for San Diego County to support our economy and our population and our quality of life as we move forward. The Water Authority during that early 90s also made a decision to diversify our water supply portfolio. And as you can see from these charts, in 1991, 95% of our water was imported, primarily through the Metropolitan Water District. And if you're familiar and have been around in the late 80s and early 90s, you know there was a severe drought during that time. And there were restrictions and cutbacks of 30%, and we were within a month of going to 50% restrictions on our water supply from Metropolitan to San Diego County. The Water Authority decided at that time that they needed to move forward and not be so reliant on Metropolitan Water District for their water supplies. So over the course of the last 20 years, we've been moving forward to diversify that water supply portfolio. And as you can see, in 2011, we have greatly reduced our supply on imported water through the Metropolitan Water District, through water transfers, through conservation, through local projects such as groundwater desalination, water recycling, as well as conservation. So we made tremendous progress. This is a great success story, in my opinion, how far we've moved in the last 20 years. And today, in 2011, we use the same amount of water per acre feet as we did in 1991. Yet our population grew by 600,000, and we tripled the economy tripled over that same period. So we're moving in the right direction. As you can see, in 2020, we have goals to further diversify our water supply as further transfers kick in and other projects, local projects, are started up. And as we move forward with more conservation, although I got to say, over the last 5 years, we reduced our water usage by 38% in San Diego County by the public's response to this latest drought and in reducing their water demands. And we're not seeing a very large increase now that the drought is over and there are no restrictions out there. That our increase is very small to date based on the lifting of those restrictions. So it appears that the public is continuing to use the practices that implemented with regards to being water wise in their water usage.